Welcome back to the Reboot Mini. Today we're going to talk about karma and so much more. If you could just give me a moment here while I move to the live of this video on Facebook. Just give me a moment to do that now. Yeah, we're going live on Facebook. Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome back. Welcome back to the series I'm doing this week, leading up to the reboot program that begins on October 2nd. So many amazing topics have been coming through as I've been preparing to launch this beautiful work into the world. So as part of that, and this is becoming, it seems like I keep starting at 3:33. So if you're just coming on now, maybe just let me know that you're here. Today we're going to deep dive into a few things. We're going to deep dive into the concept of karma, which has been one of my favorite subjects as of late. I have lots of favorite subjects, but specifically the role of karma and karmic wounding on us as human beings, especially as we start to understand that certain things that we maybe have experienced as sort of something we don't have any say over or can't impact. I believe that we humans have done a really good job of disempowering ourselves and just assuming that the things that are happening in our lives are just part of, what is meant to be or is part of our story. So today in this session, once again, the format is going to be very similar to what I will be doing also in my reboot program. Again, that starts on October 2nd. And the format for the program and for these mini reboots is we are going to be looking at concepts like karma, digging deep into with each one of you. If you might still be carrying a karmic wounding or a karmic imprint or even a karmic relationship, you could also be still carrying karmic emotions or patterns in your life that are ready to be let go. So I think in order to do all of that, we really need to break down what karma is. And then as we will work through over the next 7 weeks together inside the ReBoot Container, we're going to be looking at rebooting our operating systems, right? So in order to do that, we have to reframe, reflect. Yes, I love all the REs, so forgive me, but I'm having fun with the word. And even rejuvenate our passion and our knowledge and our ability to understand that we can rewrite our own reality, right? My hope in this work is, and here over the next 2 days, or 3 days, because I'm not done showing up here for you on the Facebook group, but we're going to be rewiring our belief systems and re-looking at the things that maybe we didn't understand before that we had power over. So that's what I'm hoping to do here with you today as we talk about karma. I just want to also give you, so just let me know you're here. I can't really see who's here live. And just before we begin, also, I'll let you know that I am going to leave some time, just as I did on Monday, for any specific questions that you would like me to tune into related to karmic wounding. Okay. And as you hear me talk over the next 20 minutes or so about karmic wounding, it might give you a little bit of an indication whether one of the symptoms that you've been experiencing from a health perspective, or maybe one of the relationship patterns you seem to always find yourself in, or even something to do with your career, may actually have a source wounding in something karmic. And the exciting part of the work that I'm here to do and with all of you is to help you to see that there are many roads to the solution. I am definitely a proponent of medical intervention, of course, therapy, all of the things that come with healing. But I'm here to turn things upside down and um, give you back your power and give you the tools that you need to ask the right questions to your within yourself, or the people that are here now in the world, people like me that are here to support as you go through sort of an evolution, an awakening, an ascension. We talked about the Ascension and Ascension symptoms on Monday. That replay is on my YouTube channel or on this Facebook Awaken Inspired Facebook group as well. So if you missed that, you can tune into that a little bit to give you a little bit of background on my take on Ascension and awakening and what an Ascension symptom or sign would look like. So again, today we're going to deep dive into karma. What is a karmic wound? What is karma? Um, and I'm going to open the floor up for anybody who would like to ask any questions around whether something that they're moving through in this life or this time in your life has something to do with a karmic wound or a karmic imprint. And so we're going to deep dive into that. I also want to give you, so again, just let me know if you're coming on here live. Let me know you're here. And just sort of chime in with any questions that you have as they come up, and I will spend some time after answering some of those questions. So hopefully you're all tuning in here now. I also want to give you a heads up that I'm adding so I will be doing another Facebook Live mini reboot just like this on Friday. We're going to talk about um, soul lessons and soul purpose on Friday. So as it relates again to something that might be holding you back, right? So we're going to deep dive into that on Friday. You can, again, just like today, you can bring in your questions. No questions are not valid. And, what I'm here to do is to tune in to see if within any of the things that are presenting within your life have anything to do with a karmic imprint. Okay, so there's two other things I'm really excited about. I haven't launched them or haven't posted this yet, but tomorrow at 12:30 Eastern Standard Time, I'm going to be actually over on Instagram. So Awaken Inspired Alicia on Instagram, with the recording being on YouTube after. But I'm going to be live with Colleen Newton. She is one of my guest speakers for one of the master classes in the ReBoot program. The ReBoot program is going to have a speaker, an expert every week, talking about really amazing things, things that we need to know, foundational things that will help to. It will help you to look at the environment that you're living in, the water that you're drinking, other toxins or things that may be impacting your ability to manage stress, to manage anxiety. So, this, along with everything that I'm going to bring to the table during our 7 weeks in the ReBoot program, the full ReBoot program, where we will be doing a guided healing meditation once a week, and also doing a mini reboot session similar to this, longer, and with deep diving into each one of the participants' individual challenges, health conditions, and the emotions. So we will be doing all of this for 7 weeks together, and you've got a couple of days left to sign up. And if you're not going to be here on this round, I'm going to keep showing up here to share about what we are unpacking in the container, and I'm really having a good time with putting all of this content together. So tomorrow, Colleen's going to join me, not here. I'm going to have her join me on Instagram, and we are going to talk about her masterclass, one of her two. It's all about detoxing your environment, or low tox living. So it's a really important concept for us to be thinking about if you are a sensitive, or if you think that you're going through an awakening or an ascension process, which many of us are, and likely if you're on this channel listening to me now, you are going through it. So when I had my awakening about 5 years ago, one of the things that had to really shift because I was having what was can be labeled ascension symptoms. That included rashes on my face and sensitivities or very strong sensitivities to smells and an increase in allergies. So again, I spoke about this on our mini reboot Monday. That ascension symptoms may, in fact, just actually be your body saying too much, too much, too much. I am highly sensitive to noise right now. I am highly sensitive to fragrance or perfume right now. We need to turn down the the not the volume on these toxins that may be affecting me that did not affect me before. Okay, so so specifically for me, and Colleen was an amazing help when I was moving through this. When I was moving through a faster paced awakening 5 years ago, I was extra sensitive to many things, but specifically to the products I was using in my home. And so, something that I was able to tolerate prior to my awakening process or my ascension process, however you want to term it, I was actually quite hypersensitive to it after. And so I had to go through a process of subbing out or switching out certain things like fluoride in my toothpaste. My Tide had to go. The Clorox bleach cleaner that I used to use and swear it would, make sure that the germs wouldn't get me. These all had to actually be removed from my environment because it was causing skin rashes, hives, and just very deep sensitivities to the smell. So when you are going through an ascension or awakening, this can happen. So jump on over tomorrow on Instagram, Awaken Inspired Alicia. Join myself and Colleen. She's going to help us just sort of talk about some quick swaps and things that we can do, or at least things that we can look at in our environment that may not be specifically about ascension, but it is something that we need to pay attention to. And then on Friday at 3:30, sorry, 2:30 Eastern Standard Time on Instagram again. I'm also going to be joined by Cindy Nolay. She was someone else that was very impactful to me in my early days as I was exploring and awakening and learning about the new version of me. Very interesting story about how we met, but I'll share that later. She is also another one of my guest speakers. She'll be coming on to talk about the fact that our water is dead. Yes, my friends, our water is dead. So I'm sure many of you are quite aware if you're on this channel and been following me for some time. You know that that there are, there's chemicals in our water, there's fluorides in our water, there's calcium in our water, or calcium, of course there's calcium. Basically, she's going to deep dive with us. She's quite brilliant. She's going to talk about restructuring our water and doing it in a way that it's not completely going to run your budget over. Quick fixes that we can do to restructure our water and things that you can do to add the minerals back in your water, proper filtration. She's going to really deep dive into that in a masterclass in the ReBoot program. She will be the first one up actually next week. So if you are joining the ReBoot program, we're going to get a full masterclass around water, how we structure our water, how we can quickly, efficiently, and easily filter our water properly without breaking your budget, and also the importance of water. And the reason why we're starting with her next week is because water, hydration, is the foundation of everything, right? So again, we're not just talking about spirituality here. We are talking about rebooting all of the things that may be shifting as you are shifting. Okay, so here I have to keep drinking water. There's something actually going on. I always lean into whatever it is that's happening at the time. So even though we're live, something's happening here in my throat chakra. So I don't know if it's mine or if someone else that's here. Is it? No, somebody has got a blocked throat chakra that's here. So before I talk about karma, and maybe it's about a karmic wound in the throat chakra, I can see that Joanne is here. I don't know who else is here, but I'm just going to say it because that's what I do here. I flow. So if what I'm getting right now in my throat chakra, which is coming up as a tickle, I'm able to check in to see if this tickle is mine, and I'm getting that it's not. So this tickle is related to somebody that is here on the live. Um, so I don't know who it is, but and I'll just give you sort of a little update or insight into throat chakra a blockage in the throat chakra. So if you are experiencing, maybe cold symptoms or what you're hearing me experience right now, it might likely be due to a blocked or a partially stuck throat chakra. Now, the throat chakra is associated with your ability to speak your truth, right? To show up and be heard and voice your opinions and voice who you are. So, if anyone is here that this is resonating with, this likely may be yours. And if you're watching on the replay, this could also be yours. So, if you are experiencing any sore throats or any tickles in your throat, what you want to do is just sort of um, let let your attention go to the throat and just acknowledge that you might have a stuck throat chakra, and then just unravel it, unravel it, unravel it. So just imagine a counterclockwise spinning around, removing, removing, removing anything that might be blocking your throat chakra. Taking a deep breath and then releasing it, and just noticing. Okay, and this is part of the work here that we're doing in these mini reboots and in the full program is reframing our how we look at certain things that are happening in our physical body, our emotional body, um, and start to pay attention a little bit more. So there's no reason physically for me to have a scratchy throat right now. And the water doesn't seem to be helping. And so I have the ability, because I know how to do this, I have the toolbox to check in to see if it's something that is related to me. And if it was me, then what I'd want to do is I'd want to deep dive into, is there a reason? Perhaps it is karma. So perhaps this is, I'm getting that this isn't mine, but perhaps there's a karmic looping pattern, right, that you're stuck in, or someone is stuck in, whereby your voice isn't important. So this could be related to whoever is on the live or coming on the replay that is having issues with the throat chakra. And I am getting that it is related to karma. So there is a karmic imprinting around not feeling worthy enough or strong enough or knowledgeable enough to actually speak your truth. Okay, so let's talk about karma. So again, start thinking about those questions that you have. I'm definitely going to be deep diving in if anybody has any here. So karma obviously is, I'm sure we've all heard, karma's a bitch. Basically, it's around something that's going to come back around, okay, like a wheel. All right. So if I do something bad to you, something's going to happen bad to me. Okay. And karma's really, it is also a way of us understanding some of these like universal laws or laws of frequency or energy, natural laws, some call it. And it's rooted in that the natural law of how things, are to go. Yin and yang, reciprocity. I give to you, you give back to me. We give to Mother Earth, she gives to us. So many will talk about karma as something that is um, something that you're stuck in, if you will. Okay. So, but what if karma was a method by which to remind us of some of the things that are still existing, okay, in our bodies and fields, or in our awareness, or in our subconscious, that is not any longer in alignment with us. Okay. So, what if instead of saying, oh, it must be karma, what if we understood karma as a teaching tool? Okay. Um, and we, instead of sort of not looking at karma or ignoring it, what if we were to ask, is this a karmic loop that I am no longer wanting to participate in? So this is where it gets a little interesting, and where some people, some spiritual teachers or practitioners or people that speak about consciousness, this is where I feel like some of it maybe needs to expand to the next level. So what if some of these karmic loops we have agreed to in order to learn, okay, soul development, that sort of thing. But what if some of these karmic loops were actually looping from our ancestors that we've taken on? What if some of these karmic, patterns that we take on, some of the karmic emotions, traumas, are actually traumas or emotions or patterns that we're taking on from our past life? Okay, so sometimes karmic loops are meant then to be, they're always meant to be released. They're here for us to learn. That is karma. What goes around comes around. So what happens though is a lot of us get stuck on karmic wheels. Okay, heard about karmic wheels. Relationships, careers, uh, chronic illnesses. So karma is, in its very essence, here to sort of learn to overcome, okay, a pattern. All right. So, however, what I feel that we have not done is we've forgotten that we can actually, and we need to actually, first of all, identify the karmic wound. Okay, that's really important. And number two, we need to identify if it is still a lesson we need to learn in this lifetime. So the symptom of this would be saying, falling back into a pattern with a relationship that, for example, that you really, 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 maybe got therapy for, maybe you were with a narcissist. Maybe you have trouble having a relationship, any kind of romantic relationship. Maybe you're attracting the wrong person. What if that was actually a lesson you were to learn, but now you have the potential to look at it as a lesson and then decide or revoke your consent energetically to actually participating in that karmic lesson anymore? So, this is something that I have experienced working with people and myself. That is sort of a missing link to really move past some of these karmic cycles, okay, karmic looping patterns or looping patterns that we get ourselves into. Okay, so some symptoms of, and again, there's more than one way to get to the same answer. And I'm not saying that every one of these conditions is related to still participating in a karmic loop. And karma also, this is a free will planet. So we as human beings have to give our consent. And if it's not a verbal or even a subconscious consent, our participate are us participating in the act of the doing, or participating in the relationship, participating in the unhappy career, participating in struggles with interpersonal relationships, participating in, and this could be somewhat controversial, but even participating in illness, illnesses like fibromyalgia or lupus or um, there's others. But what if there was also a karmic origin source to your soul, or you deciding that you wanted to come into this lifetime or another lifetime to work through that lesson for soul growth? Great, check, done it, been there, done that, bought the T-shirt. That's a good T-shirt. I should actually do that. Karma, been there, done that, bought the T-shirt. But now you're aware of that lesson. So let's say it was a narcissistic relationship, for example, and now you would like to be done with that cycle. You'd like to get off that hamster wheel, and you can't understand why you can't. Okay, so this might actually be a karmic wounding. And once we figure that out, then if that indeed is the origin source to whatever it is you're experiencing, what we can do then is rewrite that and revoke our consent to participating in that cycle any longer. So I hope this is making sense. So it's time now to start to think about some of the questions that you might want to ask me. If you would like me to check in to see if any of your you might be experiencing any karmic wounding. So start to think about that now. And I'm going to give you some of the examples of what would be symptomatic of or a signal of a potential karmic wound or karmic loop that you're still participating in, obviously not consciously, but may assist you in moving through sort of stuck cycles in your life, health issues, relationship issues. So typically, karmic wounding can present as a number of things. Number one, fatigue, extreme fatigue, feeling like completely exhausted, but not knowing and with no sort of ability to ever really feel rested. Alternatively, karmic wounding could a potential sign or signal to karmic wounding could be not being able to sleep, or waking up at a certain time every night, or feeling like you're always on a mission to sort of achieve or get things done. So a lot of people that may have an origin source to patterns, illness, etc. Um, Sometimes this can be a signal that they have karmic wounding, that it might be ancestor related, but that's also in a karmic loop. Okay, so the work here is in this, this reboot program and this work that I'm here to do is to re-look at the things that are happening to us. And in this time of the world, instead, look at it as an opportunity to reshift or reshape your idea around why it's happening in the first place. Okay. And if we approached everything in our life that way, I can tell you how quickly you're going to start unpacking the heaviness that has been keeping you sort of stuck or looping in patterns or not moving ahead or not living in joy. And this is the way that we get there. We look at our nervous system, we look at our physical health, we look at our mental health, we look at our spiritual health, okay, and we put it all together. And we, instead of resisting, we look at the things that are coming up as an opportunity, right, to unpack an origin source so that we may heal them. So, some other symptoms: migraines, headaches, um, hormonal fluctuations, menstrual issues can be an indication of, or chronic menstrual issues or PMDD, can be an indication of karmic wounding. Mental health issues like depression can be an indication of karmic wounding. So there's many ways to sort of get to an origin story. So the way that I approach it is I always, always, always ask if any situation specifically has its origin in. Okay. And then the first way that we learn to do it is we ask, is, for example, this, is my high blood pressure, for example, is that related to karma? Or sorry, physical, yes or no? So sometimes that high blood pressure may already be manifest into physical, and pretty much you can count on any one sort of physical issue to have a few different origins. So I want to make sure I say that out loud here too. You can't just all of a sudden be like, okay, I've cleared the karma, my high blood pressure is going to go away. So that's not really how it works either. Okay. But once we sort of figure out the origin story or the origin root cause of any one of the ailments, diabetes, low blood pressure. Okay. So Cindy's here. So we're going to dive into that right now, actually. I'm assuming, so this is how I'm going to do it. Okay. So we're going to dig into your low blood pressure, Cindy. and see where that origin source is. Okay, so as an example, so you guys, anyone else here on the live, if you want to be thinking about what they want to bring up to see if there is any karmic looping in your particular health issue or relationship issue, that's what I'll tune into now. Okay, so right now for Cindy, I'm going to tune into the first thing that I would do is I'd say, is the low blood pressure also physical? And so, yes, Cindy, it is. So what that actually means is that the low blood pressure has already manifested into the physical body. Okay, so that's a separate issue, something that we need to look at, but not something that is related right now to some other origin sources. So then I'm going to ask the next question: is the low blood pressure emotional? And I am getting yes on that, Cindy. So that's interesting. Is it energetic? No. Is it spiritual? Yes. So in this case, Cindy, your low blood pressure is physical, so it's manifested into physical. It is emotional and it is spiritual. And then the next question, of course, with our topic today, is there a karmic loop involved? And that is a yes. Obviously, you're here. So it's no accident that you're here. So there is an origin source of the low blood pressure for you, Cindy, in a karmic loop. Okay. The other questions that I would ask: is it related to a miasm? That is a yes, but I think that's also tied into the karmic loop. So I'm going to keep diving into that a little bit more. Keep going, and I get keep going. Okay, so is the origin source of the low blood pressure for Cindy related to karma? Yes or no? And I get a yes. Okay, so that's interesting. So what this shows us is, oh, the next thing I'll ask is the karma related to this lifetime for Cindy? Yes or no? No. That means that this karmic loop origin story of whatever happened, I'm going to ask the next question: is it ancestral? That's a yes. So there is something in your ancestral line. It could be a miasm, something in the DNA, right? Um, that is definitely ancestral related. And then the final question that I would ask is the karmic tie to the low blood pressure related to past lives for Cindy? And that's a big yes. That's a hell yeah. Okay. So the next question, and this is how we approach the work. This is how we reboot ourselves. We reshape the way that we're thinking. So if we can just kind of go back through all of this sort of diagnoses, we still know that it's presenting as physical low blood pressure. So it's not that she can just come off medication if she's on it, or we can magically fix it. But what we have determined is that there is a strong connection to a karmic loop around low blood pressure. So the next thing that I would do right now, so really what the reboot program about, guys, is making us all little mini detectives into looking at the different ways that we can approach the signs and symptoms that are coming up. So I'm going to look at, so she doesn't take any meds, she's just said here. So I am going to look up the emotional, because as we saw, the emotional connection was there. So low blood pressure is an indication of lack of love as a child, defeatism. What's the use? It's not going to work anyway. So it's kind of this, unjoyous approach. What does it matter anyway? And so if you're not resonating with that, Cindy, in this lifetime, it could be that is it from this lifetime. There's a little bit from this lifetime, but I'm getting primarily that emotional connection to the low blood pressure is from a past life. And I'm also getting this also is related to ancestral trauma. Okay. So basically, the way we approach it is then we say, okay, I revoke my consent now to any karmic loop that is presenting in my life right now that is leading to a physical manifestation of low blood pressure. It's really, really simple. Okay. Now, when we're doing one-on-one work or we're in the program, we're going to go a little bit deeper than that. Obviously, there's little tentacles of reasons all over the place. But what we can do right now is just revoke the consent. We all consent to the karmic loops that we're on. Okay. So if we just take that out of the equation, it's not going to harm anything, right? So what we're going to do then now together is, Cindy, you can say this, and if anybody else has any blood pressure issues this way and you think this is feeling like it's resonating with you, it's really that simple. So I recognize that my low blood pressure may be an indication of a karmic loop, karmic debt that I am still participating in. And then what you want to say is, I do not consent. I revoke my consent across all space, all time, all lifetimes, and all universes. Thank you, thank you, thank you, and so it is. And then you're just going to take that deep breath in, fill yourself up, right? And rewrite, okay, the physiological story or the karmic story that you're following. Yeah. So it's a really simple do not consent, okay? So the beauty in this work is that now for this particular issue with Cindy, as an example, we've unpacked, obviously there's more than one reason for the physical manifestation of the blood pressure. However, we've also gone back in time, if you will, and we have identified an origin source for the issue. So that also means, and this is why the ReBoot program is going to get into other things that we need to do, because what happens is a lot of these conditions, relationship patterns, emotions, they then manifest into physical, and then we need to clean it up on that level. Okay, so that's when we move into toxins, rebooting your home, your environment, managing your nervous system. Okay, but there's always a source origin, and it might not always be karma, but wouldn't that be interesting if some of the things that were happening in your life were actually maybe reappearing now as you're moving through more of a time of ascension or awakening? Maybe these patterns and looping karma loops are coming up just for you to actually see. Okay, so Joanne asks, can obesity be related to karma? Absolutely. Okay. So I'll ask specifically, if you would like, Joanne, if maintaining weight or carrying extra weight is specifically, in Joanne's case, related to a karmic loop. Yes or no? No. So I am getting that that is not the origin source of holding weight for you. That does not mean that it's not in there somewhere. So what again I'll do, just as an example for all of us here on the live, is I will tune in to see if it's something physical. So I am getting it as physical. So maintaining weight or holding weight for you, Joanne, is definitely physical right now. So that could mean something like thyroid. That could mean that could be any number of things, right? I'm not a doctor, but whenever there's some sort of physical manifestation, and I get that it's physical, there's definitely a need to look into that, okay, and get support that way. All right, so next I'm going to go to, is it energetic? No. Is it emotional? Yes. So the origin source for holding weight or obesity, for anyone, I wouldn't say you're obese, but I would say holding weight would definitely be related to emotions. So you're still holding on to emotions. And this makes sense too, because what our bodies do to protect ourselves, we actually hold a lot of our emotions in our bodies. Okay. And that is a lot of the reason sometimes why we can't um, we can't lose weight or we hold on to weight. Okay. But then there's also the emotional using food to sort of self-soothe or soothe your nervous system. So there's all these different sort of reasons. Okay. Is there any is there any karmic relationship between Joanne and holding weight at all? That's a yes. Okay. So if you'll just, kind of rewind with me a little bit, the first question was, is the source of, or the origin source to Joanne's holding on to weight karma? And that was a no. So then we go to the next level and we ask if it's physical. So, yes, there is something that is contributing in your physical body, okay, that is contributing to holding weight. We also know that it is emotional, okay, and now that may have a karmic implication, and that is what I'm getting, okay. So, emotional eating or, you know, eating a lot for fear perhaps that you're not going to eat again. So that is in fact karmic relation. That has a karmic origin. So to remove that piece from the equation, again, I would ask then, is that a karmic loop that's ancestor related or ancestral trauma? And that is a yes. Okay. And then I'd ask, is this also a wounding related to past life? Keep going. Okay. Interesting. I got to keep going on that one. All right. So, is there a karmic loop relating to holding weight, emotional eating, or yes, that's past life related. So, really, in relation to sort of maybe not having food in a past life or having food be removed from access or, um, being poor, that is all karmic related. Okay, so what you can do then, once you sort of figure out where the karmic piece of the puzzle exists, and usually when we do this work, we do it all at one time. So we would tune into, the origin source. We would tune into any physical manifestations, any spiritual manifestations. But, if you have the ability to stop a karmic loop, and in essence, karma is about learning, right? So if you've already learned that lesson, you don't need to participate in that story again. If you already have the knowledge, which I know you do, Joanne, which is probably why I'm getting these answers, you already have the knowledge that you are holding that these emotions that you no longer need in your body. You also have done enough work to understand that when you are turning to food is as a self-soothe or whatever, that has an origin in something that needs healing. Okay, but the other thing that's still coming up is that it is physical, so there is something physical going on that is contributing to holding on to weight. Okay, so however, if there's any karmic loop and if it's a pattern, okay, so if anything that's happening in your life, like perhaps overeating or emotional eating, or the opposite, not eating, any sort of anorexia or avoiding food, it is always a good idea to tune in to see if that indeed is that there's a piece of that is a karmic loop. Okay, and remember back to where I said at the beginning, is that karma is here to teach us, to level us up. However, once we are done that lesson, we can revoke our consent in participating in that karmic loop anymore. Okay? So, again, what we would do is we would say, I understand that there is a karmic pattern to, um, overeating or emotional eating. I understand that I am safe and that I have an abundance of food around me, and I revoke my agreement or my consent in participating in that karmic loop anymore. Thank you for the lessons. I do not consent. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, and so it is. Right? And then just even that act of understanding that you were in some sort of looping behavior or emotion or relationship or health condition that you were participating in, it actually allows you to remove that karma. The only thing that the reason why we need to revoke the consent is because sometimes that karmic loop isn't something we are in control of in this lifetime. So it may have come from, one of your past lives or an ancestral trauma. So again, what we're here to do is reboot, reframe things that are belief systems or patterns or ways we have thought about our own health or lack thereof, mental health, physical health, soul health. And what we're here to do is really unpack all of that so we can raise our vibration and live in joy. It's kind of really simple. And so my hope for you in all of this work is that I can help to show you that how to take your power back, because we do have all of these abilities within us. I have walked the walk. I've been on the journey, and I continue to do so. And it's a beautiful unfolding, really. So there's karma, my friends. So if you're watching on the replay, feel free to chime in. I will I answer some questions after the fact, after the live is over. And when we start the reboot program next week, again, we start on Monday. The first call will be 4:30 Eastern Standard Time. In the program, we will be meeting 3 times a week. A really great masterclass every week. Cindy, who's here today, actually will be presenting on our restructuring of our water next week, the very foundation to our health, not just physically, but also emotionally and spiritually. We're going to be talking about rebooting your home, subbing out some things that may be, causing toxic reactions that didn't before, but because you are going through an awakening or, healing that may now be too sensitive for you. So reducing the toxic load in your environment. We are going to be talking about herbs, supplements, oils to help in soothing the nervous system, soothing symptoms of ascension, or what I like to call it as an evolution. And we're going to be doing guided healing meditations. We're going to be doing more on concepts like this. So I'm really excited to be bringing you this program. And all the information is in the bio. A couple more days. You have till Sunday or even Monday morning to sign up to be part of this group. It'll be 7 weeks. I will be repeating this reboot program. I'm just not sure when right now. So if this is calling to you, this is your time. Okay, my friends, I'm going to be back tomorrow. Tomorrow on Instagram with at 12:30 with 12:30 with who am I doing tomorrow? Oh yeah, rebooting with Colleen, rebooting your home. Friday with Cindy on Instagram as well. And Awaken Inspired Alicia, we're going to be talking water. And I'll be back here for the third mini reboot on Friday at 3:30 Eastern Standard. So feel free to throw in some comments here. And thanks for joining me live. And if you're on the replay, please let me know you're here too. And we will see you soon. Bye for now. Bye for now, everyone.